So here's a little activity for you. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios, and I want you to kind of think about how you would convert this from problem talk to solution talk. You know, what do I want talk? So the problem number one, John, bone idle, people around him don't think he carries his weight. So option A is let's dig into the problem. Option B might be, what do you want from John? What do you need from him? Second issue, we've got Mary, who's a star performer who goes unrecognised, and you're worried about her and you're coaching her. What do you do about that? Do you dissect the reason she's unrecognised, or do you go somewhere else? Do you say, what do we need to do to make this work? How do we need to make Mary recognised? And so on. So these are really important pieces of thinking. And so in your head all the time is, you know, what do I want from this? What's the outcome I'm looking for? As opposed to problem dissection. And so this is based on some really interesting science in cognitive therapy. And so the concept here is stressing the importance of what rather than why, and the present and future rather than the past. And the emphasis is completely on language, because language creates reality. And in order to change the reality, you need to change the language. And you'll know this from your own experience, that the problem or complaint isn't necessarily related to the solution, and the solution is not necessarily related to the problem. So I'm pushing you to avoid looking for causes and grasping for meaning of problems, because it's problem talk. And problem talk can perpetuate your obsession and others with immersion in problems and not helping with solutions. In fact, they get in the way. So this shift from problem talk to solution talk is critical. It changes focus on the positive and the potential. And let me just give you a couple of real examples. So you've got a problem. I'm having real trouble with Fred. So the question will be, what do I want from Fred? I'm unhappy with my relationship with my boss. What relationship do you want with your boss? And there's the issue also here of finding words that get in the way. And this is about rethinking and reframing. And you will have heard these. So I'm hopeless at managing difficult people. Now you've got a lot of choices here. Here's one choice. You can have a very long conversation about hopelessness and what the problem is here. Dig into it for days and days and days till you feel like you really can't bear being in the room any longer. And really the technique here is to just focus on the word that creates the problem. And the word that creates the problem is the word hopeless. So if someone said that to me in a coaching session, I'm hopeless at managing difficult people, for example, I would say, hopeless? Always? In every situation? And I will bet you 90% of the time they'll say, well, no, not in every situation. So they've used a word that's inappropriate, and so all you're doing is attending to the word. And then what almost always happens is they'll tell you about where they're not hopeless. Well, I'm actually not bad at this and I'm okay at that. And there's a couple of things I'm struggling with. And you've just now been given coaching gold. You've now narrowed the issues down to something that's really manageable simply by throwing back that word. Hopeless? Really? Always? Another one, I don't seem to have any say in decisions. Well, you can have a great conversation about why that might be the case, or you can say none, not ever, you've never had any say in decisions, and you will find there's always an exception, and the exception is the seed to the solution. So we work on that. I actually had a real instance of the next one, which is in a team meeting where we were doing round the room, you know, how you going? And one person in the team said, I'm the worst in this team at everything. Can you imagine? Now, the choices in response to that are endless, and I was chairing the meeting. So one choice might be you all rush over and hug this person and feel sorry for her and tell her she's really wonderful and not to fret. You could say, talk to me about that, and then you get a long list of all the things that she's bad at and all her rumination about that. Or you could simply say to her, please tell us what's going on here. There's endless possibilities. What happened in that meeting is I said, the worst at everything? Really? The worst at everything? And what happened was, of course, a dawning realization that was just not true. And she said quickly, well, no, I'm not the worst at everything. And then I said, well, what are you good at? Which she had no trouble listing. And then said, is there anything you're struggling with? And she mentioned a couple of things, and we picked them up later on as issues. The other one I've had a lot is my manager shows no interest in my development. So you can go into that if you like for a half a day and work out what's going on, or you can say none, your manager's never had any interest in your development. I had one recently where a guy said that, and I said, what, none, not ever? And he said, well, no, I did get sent on a training course 4 years ago. And so the next bit was, well, tell me what the circumstances were around that. I put in a business case. I had it properly funded. It fitted my development plan. Okay, so let's go back and reframe. In order to get development with my manager, I need to have a business case, have a budget, and it needs to be in my development plan. So no interest in his development is a complete and utter myth.